These so-called Democrats need to understand this. When thousands of Nigerians died in their hospital beds due to lack of electricity or lack of medicine, it is a crime. They are responsible for these sanctions. They are responsible for these deaths. The same thing is happening in Mali. With Burkina, we have indirect sanctions because people need to understand. When they understand, there are instructions from the other side. They come, they do everything to apply it. It's shameful. Some have decided not to supply electricity to our countries. It's not free, we pay for it. And it contributes to their economy. They tried to make Mali suffer. And of course, by ignoring all the agreements and no longer providing electricity to Mali, hoping that the population would revolt, it doesn't work. When it lasted, some were forced to make their own people pay by increasing the cost of electricity. It will increase again. This gives us several lessons. Several lessons in the sense that the independence we take, the sovereignty we take, we must do everything to ensure it. They have given us very good lessons, and we have understood them very well. Some have closed their ports, which actually goes against all international texts, because you cannot close ports to a landlocked country. They did it, they violated the text. The international community said nothing. No one spoke in ECOWAS. But in the ports, we do not transit our goods for free. We pay. And those who do not necessitate are now facing the consequences. And I think it's a lesson for them too, that they should not always follow their master's orders. They need to understand this forever. ECOWAS has never issued a statement to congratulate a victory of our armies. Barely, it condemns half-heartedly, and very rarely when there are massacres. Where is this ECOWAS of the people? In short, we cannot list all the harm that has been done to our people, but we have decided with full awareness to withdraw and focus on our common organization, which is the AEC. Remember that. There is no fear, because in exploring and getting to work, we noticed one thing. Recently, some have decided to ban the export of certain food products to Burkina Faso. Very well. They have set a duration. We will ensure that at the end of this duration, we will ban the entry of these products into our territory.
See, look at what is happening within Africa, especially West Africa, or the Sahel revolution, you know, from what we are seeing now. And of course, Nigeria, whom the Fulanis has made their destination. From what is happening and the support and popularity of Ibrahim Traore trying to stamp out anything that has to do with terrorism, mostly linked to Fulani in Africa. At this point, do you think the eradication of Fulani, or possibly, you know, allocate a particular place somewhere outside Africa for them is possible.
I must say that I salute the courage and dexterity of Ibrahim Traore. Of course, he has become a man of the moment. You can see, we saw him in Russia the other day. And of course, this man has caught the attention of the world to the point that even as Russia invited him to their free-day celebration, Russian government, Putin himself, sent him a special aircraft to lift him from Burkina Faso to Russia. And we saw even after his engagement with students of Africa in Russia, so his approach is not just Burkina Faso. His approach is about the well-being of Africa generally. So I think thanks to the man Nnamdi Kanu, who of course opened the eyes of all Africans, whether in Burkina Faso, whether in Mali, whether in Niger, of course we are already seeing results. But at the time Nnamdi Kanu was in the trenches like a lone man, shouting and telling Africa what they need to do to liberate themselves. Nobody knew that the lives of Ibrahim Traore was at the corner looking and digesting all he was saying. But now he has caught the fire. We can see the fire burning in Burkina Faso. And of course, we understand that by the grace of God, God will see him through in the travel he's facing currently in Nigeria. Then again, back here in Nigeria, I think we should be taken out of the box. To take out of the box is to ensure that we reject our security architecture. Because currently, the command and control system that comes from Abuja to the grassroots is not working. We understand that the Office of the National Security Advisor oversees all security arrangements in Nigeria. And the man in that office reports directly to Mr. President. We understand that all crime is local. So to that extent, you cannot post somebody from Delta State to Lagos State in terms of security and think he will get it right. You cannot post somebody from Lagos to Sokoto and think he will get it right. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that we should abolish the current policing system. But hence the governors go by the name, the governor and the chief security officer of their respective states. They should be given some level of responsibility in terms of security power to parade. And that's why the way it should do, it should go. And before we do this, we must rework our grand norm, the constitution. We must reject it. Because currently, I understand that issue of security is in the exclusive legislative list. I'm advocating that let's not remove it from the exclusive legislative list and put it in the concurrent list. So that both the National Assembly and State House of Assembly can have the power to legislate on it. Because currently, life is sacrosanct, as I understand, and to be having Nigerians die in their numbers or rather living at the mercy of the bandits, for me, is unacceptable. And I think it must be addressed.
Okay, also, the Fulani making Nigeria their final destination. What does it portend for the rest of Nigerians?
I think it portrays danger, and that is where the government needs to be decisive and decide what they want. Because the welfare of Nigerians and their security is paramount, is at the heart of governance, and this is already being affected. And it's very clear that the Fulani is already making Nigeria their permanent abode for Avatar. Let us take some statistics. In Senegal, where they come from, in Senegal, they have about 5.something million population. In Gambia, they have 420,000. Yes, they are 420,000 in number. But in Nigeria, I must say that they are 15.something million in number. So it means that they are already taking Nigeria as their abode. The other time I listened to the man, Bala Mohammed, of course, the governor of Bauchi State, who made it very clear that Fulani is about 70% of Bauchi State. And of course, I begin to wonder, these are people who came from all the way from Senegal, from Gambia. Today, they are majority in a particular state in Nigeria. If they were doing their business just like any other tribe, not causing problem, not kidnapping, not maiming, I don't think anybody will be worried about their presence. But people are worried because of their excesses. And it has been noticed that their excesses is not peculiar with Nigeria. Anywhere they have their presence, the same thing. We saw, just like I mentioned the other time, what happened in Central African Republic in 2016, what happened in Ghana in 2010. Of course, Nigerian government must rise to the occasion and protect Nigerians.
But don't you think that the world leaders themselves might be using these people to achieve a particular aim? Disintegrate, I'm not actually, cause a kind of confusion and make some things look as if it is real, but they are not real, so that they will have more opportunity to infiltrate the political space and continue to, sabotage our collective economic interest.
Of course, I think that is in the right direction, because people are still wondering, why should a U.S. envoy visiting Nigeria single out the Fulani military? Sorry, single out the Fulani military. and had conversation with them, had clandestine meeting with them. So people are still wondering, and they are the one causing problem in Nigeria. Just as, like we just said, not quite too long, the chairman of Mietiala have been accused of banditry. The military have held him for like more than 1 month because they have secured a court order to keep him for 2 months to conclude their investigation. I'm not pronouncing him guilty anyway because no court have already pronounced him guilty. But the reason is, why would a U.S. envoy not engage people who are law-abiding, rather than engaging an organization that has questionable character, that their leader is already in custody of the government? So I think we should be probing into the activities of the world leaders in terms of how the activities of Fulani is promoted in Nigeria.
Okay, finally, let's look at the activities we saw recently concerning the return of Ibrahim Traore from Russia. And we are seeing also a kind of meeting by led by Macron, Kestama, and Mez, coming together and trying to make sure that, they make sure that they put Traore in a fix. What we are seeing other leaders from North Korea and other powers trying to deploy over 200,000 commandos to Burkina Faso. Does it mean that Africa can never be free from this, from these Western powers who are only interested in our economy, not in our living?
I must tell you that Africa will escape that danger. Ibrahim Traore has already...
We need more of Traore.
Of course, we may need more of Traore, but from what is happening, I think it's a good thing that he's getting the protection that he needed. But currently, Wagner from Russia are already part of the security, making sure that he's not assassinated. Remember that since inception of his government, he has faced or rather escaped about 18 assassination attempts. So looking at even the way and manner Russian government, Putin himself, sent an aircraft from Russia to Burkina Faso to enlist him for that meeting, of course, you understand that the world are already giving a project attention to the protection of the man. And of course, this will send a very serious signal to those who want Ibrahim Traore dead. Now, yes, this man has gotten the attention of the world, and Africa is already interested in him. Just like I told you, when he arrived in Russia, he didn't just focus on Burkina Faso. He met with African students who were schooling there. So he got to show that more people from Africa will be looking up to him as a role model.
Okay, finally, let's talk about what transpired recently. We are seeing economic interest and of social interest too on the side of Nigerian president and Macron. The Nigerian president, from what we are gathering, was not able to fulfill that part, to please the likes of Macron and the rest of them. Currently now, don't you think that with the way Macron is going, the activities and political activities or political plan, ambition of Bola Ahmed Tinubu may be hanging, because we see the suspension of the Sahara pipeline report, a deal has been suspended, and France is currently facing blackout because they do not have access to uranium coming from Niger, Burkina Faso, and the rest of them.
Of course, I understand that the major reason the president of Nigeria is having close relationship with Emmanuel Macron may be personal. And again, the Northerners in Nigeria have made this very clear that whatever reason he goes there, let it remain personal. That he should not bring it to the level of maybe dragging the whole Nigeria into it to act as collective captivity. And I think that is the point to where to let it go. That he should not drag Nigeria into collective captivity of France.